Hey folks, Bridges here. This video is another tutorial for the 3D modeling practice. I think that's totally fine. If you need to use these videos now, great. I'm making them for you. Okay. The goal would be, as we get better at these things and we practice this stuff more and more, that you would be able to complete the modeling with less and less instruction from the tutorials. But for now, if that's where you're at, that's totally fine. And you know, sometimes I go fast with this stuff. Sometimes it seems like it's easy, and I say that it is easy but it's because I've been practicing it for a long time, right? If you've been playing basketball for a long time, it's easy to make a layup. But if you think back to when you were in first, second, third grade, the first time you ever picked up a basketball, making a layup was not so easy, especially if you're right-handed and you were going in for a left-handed layup. That takes a lot of practice. Just like this 3D modeling stuff takes a lot of practice, and the more that you do, the better and better that you get, and it does become easy. So with that being said, let's go ahead and work on this part right here. This is what is that called? I don't even remember. Let me flip over here and see. This is the support bracket, and we're going to zoom in on that one. As you can see, I'm going to go through in reverse. I'm going to go through in reverse and show you how I got to this point right here. All right, so to get to this point, what I did, I'm just going to walk you back through my timeline. It's great to have this feature here. So I'm going to roll this thing back, and I'm going to show you after this first sketch. All right, so once you use a sketch, once you've extruded it or done something to it, by default, Fusion turns it off. So over here in my sketches folder, I'm going to expand that and show you this is what my sketch looked like. Okay, and that was the top of the item. Okay. Then I extruded it up to give the general shape, which is what we're looking for here. Now you notice there's a cutout here in the middle, and I'm going to go ahead and add that in later, but to get the general solid shape, I sketched it from the top, 120 by 9, and then I came in from these edges, looks like a distance of 35 right here, to create that little bottom of the T. Okay, and we can actually show those dimensions by going into this sketch and editing it, and you can see those dimensions there. Okay, so once you get that sketch done and you extrude that shape up a distance of, looks like 70 up, okay, then we can start applying some other extrusions to it, such as I went ahead and sketched this second sketch right there, which is I sketched on the back side. I should have sketched right here on this plane right here, but I was looking at it from the other side at the time, so I sketched it right there. It's the same, it doesn't matter. So I went ahead and sketched that, so I'll move forward in time. Once I sketched the triangle there, which is it looks like it's 9 up from the bottom and 12 in from the wall. And that's, you can see that, ooh, I got the wrong one there. I put the wrong, is that a 6 or is that a 9? I can't tell which way that is. I think that's a 9. And I put it in a 6, so I need to change mine. So change that 6 to a 9. That looks a little bit better. When I finish my sketch, okay, when I finish the sketch, then we want to do an extrude on this region, but instead of a join, we're going to make it a cut. And that is what we did there. All right, so when you go forward, and there is our feature. We did an extrude cut going that way, and it cut that off. So the next thing I did was I went and sketched on this front face right here, and that is going to be the block, that the empty hollow space that goes into the part. So let me change my view back to the home view. All right, so I sketched on this front face, and my sketch looked like this. Okay, I sketched this rectangle, and when I sketched this rectangle, matter of fact, I'm just going to go ahead and re-sketch it with you. To sketch that rectangle, you want it to line up with this bottom right here. So let me go ahead and just back up my timeline. I'm actually going to delete delete, and I'm going to sketch it with you guys. So I created a sketch on this front face. And I'm making a rectangle just about like this. Now I need to apply some dimensions to it. So I know that the thickness that I want to leave on each one of these little walls right here is 9. And I want it to go all the way up against the bottom of that floor right there, which is 9 up from the bottom. I've already made that. I've already got that little corner right there. So I want this blue line that I'm on to be coinciding with this black line right here. That's called collinear. Okay? So I'm going to use my constraints up here, my sketch constraints. I'm going to make collinear. So I click that. I'm going to make this on the same line as that. And look at that, it snaps it down there and makes them on the same line. That's great. Now it's a simple matter of using this sketch dimension to make that wall thickness of 9 and make this wall thickness of 9. And there we go. There's our sketch. Now, this might seem confusing to you, but what we're going to do here, remember, is we're going to extrude this rectangular region, not out as a join, but we're going to extrude in as a cut. Okay? And you can see it cuts away that material until it's even with this back wall. Well, right now we are extruding it by a distance. You see that distance changing? Okay? If we knew that distance, which we might, no, we don't know that distance right there. Well, no worries, because we can actually change this extent type. And instead of extruding for a distance, we can actually extrude to object. And this says it extrudes to a body, face, or plane that you select. So we're actually going to extrude up to this, up to be even with this face. So I'll click that face, and it goes in that distance and stops. And we can say, okay, and yes, that is a cut operation. So there we go. Now, you can still see some of my sketches are turned on that I've already used. I'm going to go ahead and turn those back off. Now we're at a point where we just want to put the holes in there. Now, if you choose to use the hole feature right now, that's fine, but it does not allow you to create a very precise hole. We have to just kind of guess on the location. So I don't want to use the hole feature just yet. Before I use the hole feature, I actually want to go in and create a sketch on this surface plane. And I want to put some precise locations for my holes to go. So to do that, I'm going to go to Create, and I'm going to choose Point. And I'm going to put one point just over here and one point just over here somewhere randomly. Now I want to dimension where they go. And you can see on our drawing there's a note right here. 2 holes, diameter 15. Well, when it tells you a note about 2 of something or more than one, you can it's kind of an assumption, but you're going to assume that the dimensions for them are the same. Not only is the diameter the same, but they're both going to be 40 millimeters up off the bottom. And look over here, they're both going to be 18 millimeters in from the edge. So let's go ahead and dimension that right here. Dimension in from the edge, 18. Dimension in from the outer edge, 18 over here too. And then finally, dimension up from the bottom, we said 40, didn't we? Now I dimensioned that one up from the bottom. I could do the same over here. Or it's time for me to show you a new constraint. This horizontal vertical. If we want 2 things to be horizontal from each other, which we do, let's choose horizontal vertical and choose point 1 and point 2. And it puts them horizontal from each other. It makes them go straight across from one another because this one's at 40 up from the bottom. Now so is this one. And we can go ahead and dimension that just to be sure. So using the dimension tool, it now says, hey, your sketch is over constrained. Basically, we've already, in one way or another, we've already told it that that distance should be 40. If I click create driven, it's like, hey, I have this as 40. And we're like, yep, that sounds good. So we could also click cancel there. It's fine because it's all good. It was basically we already set that to 40 through other means. So we'll say finish sketch. Now we've got a point for those holes. So now when we go to hole, we can choose this point, and I'm going to move my view cube, and this point. So we're putting 2 holes in. Now those look a little too big. So what should my diameter be? Well, my diameter for both holes should be diameter of 15. So we'll come back over here and we'll change the diameter, which is this arrow right here, from side to side to be half of that, 15. And yes, it cuts through. It doesn't matter the distance because we're cutting through. Okay, as long as it gets through that little 9mm thick wall, then it doesn't matter how far you go. We'll say OK. And that, ladies and gentlemen, I believe is the part. As always, let me know if you have any questions, and I'd do my best to help you out. Hopefully this video is helpful for you. Thanks.